Welcome to The Herbal Ire, your podcast on all things holistic health, medical astrology, spirituality, herbalism, and so much more. Presented by your host, Ire Atla, medical astrologist, herbalist, and naturopath. Let's dive right into today's topic, love and light. Hello everybody, welcome back to The Herbal Ire. I'm Ire Atla, your host, and I really wanted to come and talk to you today about some things that have been coming up for a lot of my clients, for people in my Facebook group, and just like in general that I've seen posting on social media from people that I just feel is something that we need to address and learn how to work through. And that is our negative thoughts about ourselves. And what I mean by that is lately I've had clients contacting me, people in my Facebook group messaging me or posting in the group about the fact that they have these thoughts about themselves that really upset them and they want to know how to fix it. So what I'm talking about is thoughts like they try something new for the first time and they're not very good at it because, well, it's your first time doing it and you're not going to be. But instead of that, saying to themselves, hey, I'm just not good at this yet because it's my first time, instead their first thought is, I'm so stupid, I'm never going to get this, I don't know why I'm even trying, I'm just never going to succeed at it. And then sometimes they just quit because that's the first thought in their head. Or lately I have a client who's reached out to me who's like, I'm just so fat, I'm never going to lose any weight, it's just never going to happen, I don't know why I even try anymore. And she said that she feels that way and thinks that every time she sees like herself in a mirror or a picture of herself or anything like that. And she was like, how do I fix that? And another one I've seen recently is like somebody try something new and they do it for a little while and they just really discover that, hey, this is not for me. It's not my thing. I don't like it. I don't want to do it, whatever the reason is. And then they quit. And instead of saying, hey, that wasn't aligned with me. That wasn't something that I needed to go towards. The universe was telling me that wasn't for me. Instead, their first thought is, I never finish anything. I'm just a quitter. I don't know why I even try. Right? And so they've been reaching out to me like, how do I fix these negative thoughts about myself? So first thing to realize is that those initial thoughts that you think when something happens that you don't like, or any of the examples I listed, that first thought that pops into your head, I have some good news for you. That thought is not yours. That thought does not belong to you. That thought was given to you by an outside source. And because of that, that means that it's slightly easier to change than a belief that you truly hold in your core about yourself, right? Because these aren't beliefs that you hold. Your soul loves you. It loves you so much. Your soul literally chose your body, your family of origin, your place that you live now, all that stuff to come down and take its next trip around the sun with you. Your body, your family, your everything. And it would never speak to you that way. It loves you. It chose you on purpose. And it would never want you to feel that way about yourself. And it would never say that about you. So all of those thoughts are not things that belong to you. These are thoughts that were given to you by somebody else. So like a mom, a dad, grandparents, aunts, uncles, teachers. Somebody else has actually said those things to you so many times that your brain has taken that up, and that's the first thought that it thinks when something like that happens. Like, for example, when you were a child, maybe you were the kind of kid who tried new things and then discovered very quickly you didn't like it. So you would quit and you would go to something new. And you had a parent or a coach or a teacher or a grandparent say to you, you're such a quitter. You always quit. You never stick to anything. You're just never going to be anything. You're never going to amount to anything in life because you can't stick to one thing long enough to decide. Instead of realizing that maybe that's just who you are at your core. You like to try new things to figure out what you like, and that's your way of determining that, right? And sometimes it doesn't take long to figure out that that thing you chose is not right for you. But you heard that so many times that you've taken on that thought as a belief of your own, and it's not. Deep down, your soul knows that's not a true thought about yourself. And deep down, you know it too. So I want to give some tips today about how we can change these initial thoughts that pop into our head, right? Because those are the ones that we tend to just listen to, and we don't ever really move past those. I can't tell you how many times, a client says to me one of those things, well, I'm just, insert whatever here, and I'm never going to be able to change when we're working together. And when I say to them, well, what makes you believe that? Why do you believe that thought? What is behind that? They start really thinking about it, and they're like, oh, well, my mom used to say that to me all the time, or my dad, or my grandpa, or whatever. And then they start realizing that that's not really what they believe. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's something that someone else has said to you and it's not yours, what do you believe about yourself? Do you believe you're just a quitter? Do you believe you're never going to be able to lose weight? Do you truly believe that you're stupid and can't do anything? And when they really sit down and start really investigating what they believe about themselves, like what they believe deep down, what their soul knows about them, and what their soul wants them to know about themselves, they realize that like 99.9% of the time, they don't hold those beliefs, that they believe something else about themselves. So let's talk about some ways that you can start reframing those initial thoughts so that from now on, your first initial thoughts are the ones that you really believe. So instead of, I'm so stupid, I will never be able to figure this out, your first thought is, I know I'm smart and capable, and I will find a solution for this problem. Like, that's the thought you want to have first, right? So let's talk about how we can get there. So there's going to be about 6 tips. So tip number 1, when thoughts like these come up, the first thought that pops in your head, just stop. Stop right there. I don't care what you're doing, unless you're driving on the road, just stop for 5 seconds even. Count from 5 down to 1 and just ask yourself, say it out loud, say it in your brain, whatever works, but just say to yourself, is this thought mine? And then wait for an answer. You will know if it's yours because you will feel a sensation in your body, or you will hear a thought in your head, but there will be something that will tell you that yes, this thought is mine, or no, this thought is not, right? So if it's not, and that's the answer you get, then tell yourself that. This is not my thought and my belief about myself. I reject it. And just keep saying this. Say it out loud if you need to. If that helps you really set it in there and believe it, say it out loud. I do not believe this thought. It is not mine. I reject it. So, tip number 2, replace that negative thought with what you do believe. So instead of, I'm so stupid, I'll never be able to figure this out, I believe I am smart and capable, and I will find a solution. Instead of, my body's fat and it's never going to be anything else, my body is perfect the way that it is. Instead of, I just quit and I'll never be anything but a quitter, I follow my intuition and I focus on the things that matter most to me. And say those over and over. Pick a mantra that works for you, a thought that truly is yours. Write it down if you have to. Put it on the screensaver of your phone. Put it in the bathroom on the mirror. Put it in your purse. Put it in your wallet. Put it in your car. But put it somewhere where you're going to see it often, and that you can remember that these are your beliefs about yourself. Tip number 3. Start a daily practice of learning what your thoughts actually are. So, of course, you're probably sitting here going, well, how do I figure out what my thoughts actually are? I have so many thoughts from others in me that I can't determine which ones are mine and which ones are theirs. So to do that, you're going to want to start this daily practice. And once you get good at it, you may not have to do it daily anymore. But to start with, you're going to want to find 5 minutes a day to do this. So you want to sit down, You want to close your eyes if that helps you focus more, put on some music if that helps, whatever really helps you stay focused. And then sit there and ask yourself, do I believe that I am? Insert negative thought here, right? And then just wait for an answer. An answer might feel like butterflies in your stomach, a clenching feeling in your chest, a tightening in your pelvis, maybe even a voice in your head that you will hear a clear yes or no or whatever. And you can determine if those sensations that you're feeling are a yes or a no. And once you start really working with your body, you will be able to determine what kind of sensation is a yes and which sensation is a no. So if you're not good at this at first, that's okay. That's normal. That's to be expected. You're not used to working with your body this way. So it's going to take some time to really, truly connect with what those sensations means, but don't give up, right? Just keep doing it over and over and over again, because the more you do it, the better you get at it. So do that daily to start with, and then work your way down to whatever works for you once you've worked out what your beliefs really are. Tip number 4. Once you have an answer about whether or not you believe those thoughts about yourself, ask yourself, what do I believe about myself, right? So part of the daily practice is, do I believe that I am? Insert negative thought here. And then once you determine that's yes or no, then you're going to ask yourself, well, what do I believe about myself in that instance? And you're going to journal on this, you're going to write this down, and you're going to keep it somewhere safe, right? And tip number 5, post those beliefs that you now know are 100% yours everywhere. On your mirror, in your car, in your purse, in your wallet, on your phone, at your desk at work, on a clipboard that you use for work. I don't care what it is. Post that shit everywhere. Let you read that stuff every single day. Multiple times a day, whatever it takes for you to truly start embodying and believing that you are smart, you are capable, your body is perfect the way it is. Whatever your negative thought was, whenever the opposite of that is, start reading that every day so that you can truly embody and know that this is my thought and this is who I really am on the inside. And then tip number 6, every time one of those negative thoughts pops up, replace it with one of your beliefs instead. So, for example, every time you try something new and you're not immediately good at it, or you are trying something and you keep failing at it over and over, right? Instead of saying, I'm so stupid, I'm never going to get this, you're going to say, I know I'm smart and capable. I can come up with a solution. I know I can do this. Or I know that I, haven't gotten the right answer yet, but I know that I will find the right answer and we can keep going and do this. Just whatever your new, I say new, but they're not new. Whatever your beliefs truly are, start replacing those every time. I don't care if you're in the middle of the grocery store, if you're driving, if you're in the middle of talking to a colleague, and those thoughts come up. Stop and replace it with the thought that you know is true instead of the one that you know is not. And over time, this gets easier and easier. And honestly, if you do it often enough, you may stop those negative thoughts altogether. Those ones may never pop back up because you have successfully rewired your brain to believe the truth instead of the lies that you were told. And I can tell you that that is true. I was raised in a home where my family was very negative. Everything was negative. There was hardly any positives, at least none that I can truly, really remember. And because of that, I had a very negative mindset, and especially toward myself, because my mom was one of those people who, if I didn't do something right away, well, you're just stupid, you're never going to get it. Or I gained 2 pounds. Well, you're just so fat now, you're never going to fit into those clothes. And she was very negative about other people as well. So we would see someone on the street and she's like, look how that person's dressed. They're such a whore. Things like that, right? It was just very negative all the time. I don't think I ever heard her say a positive thing about anybody, including herself. And so because of that, that became my inner voice, right? Because your inner voice actually comes from other people. Your inner voice and how you talk to yourself about yourself is other people's thoughts and beliefs. It's not you. Your soul would never speak to you that way. It would never call you stupid or fat or ugly or dumb or anything. It would never say that about you. And so those are all thoughts from someone else. And it took me a really long time to realize that every time I thought one of those thoughts about myself, that it was literally my mom's voice that I was hearing in my head. It was her saying that I was fat and never going to fit into that dress. It was her saying that I was stupid and I was never going to figure this out. And so when I really sat down and did some really in-depth shadow work and really listening to my body and figuring out what was really me and what wasn't, and started replacing those thoughts all the time, that I can tell you, truly tell you, that those don't come up really anymore for me. Once in a blue moon, I will feel one of those, but I'm able to immediately turn it around and be like, no, that's not me. That's somebody else. Here's what I believe, right? But it's so rare that that happens now, because I have been practicing this for so long, of turning that pain and transmuting it into medicine, transmuting it into power, into taking back my power and trusting me and knowing who I really am. And I know that you can do that too. And if you need help with that, or you want some support in that area because you're like, okay, well, I believe that I can do this. You're telling me I can, but I need some support to really start off, then please reach out. Let's come up with some solutions for you, right? So, if you want to have some help, you can reach out to my email, info@twinravensnaturals.com, and we can discuss, how to get you that help and what we can do to work together to make sure that you have that support that you need. If you want some support from others as well, I highly recommend you join my Facebook group. It's called the Sisterhood Holistic Health and Support Group on Facebook, and I will put a link in the show notes that you can just click on and come straight to the group to join. That's a great place to come and get support as well, because there's a lot of people in there that are going through the same things you are, and they've been there, done that, or they're currently there, and they get where you are too. So, all good things. If you really want to know who you are at your core, who your soul really is, and what you are really here on this earth to do, and how to work with who you are on a cosmic level, I highly suggest you get a medical astrology reading. This will tell you why you're here this trip around the sun, what your destiny is, what your past lives are, what karma you have to fulfill, what work your soul wants to do on this earth this time around, and how you truly will be the happiest ever on this earth, this trip around the sun, by following that path. It also gives you insights into your health and what's going on with your health and why it's happening, and then ways to fix that. So if you are having any health concerns on top of everything else, you can figure out ways to fix those as well, because that it gives you a detailed description, right? Medical astrology just literally is like a microscope to look inside your body and help you heal on a super deep cosmic level. Heal your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual pains that are going on in your body. So those will have a link in the show notes as well. If you're interested, I would love to do one for you and help you start figuring out what your soul really wants, what your soul really believes, and who you really are at your core. And so you can start learning to really embrace that instead of shaming yourself for things that you do that are just how you're designed to do and behave and live your life. So thank you today for listening. I'm super happy that you are here. I'm actually taping this on Yule, so happy Yule and blessed winter solstice. I hope you all have had a wonderful day. And if you celebrate Yule, I hope that it was everything that you really hoped it was this year. The new moon is coming up in a couple of days, and it's going to be in Capricorn. Capricorn is all about boundaries, so you might find yourself wanting and needing and starting to set some boundaries that you're going to enact and hold up, especially this holiday season where we know boundary stompers love to show up and try to stomp on your boundaries. So that energy is coming to help you enforce those if you need them. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great holiday season. Love and light. So, how cool is medical astrology? If you have finished listening to this medical astrology mini series and are like, fuck yes, how do I get a reading? Well, you are going to love this. Just for my amazing podcast listeners, I am offering 20% off my medical astrology natal chart readings. These readings are an in depth, detailed assessment of your natal chart from a medical astrology standpoint. This assessment will show you where your health issues may occur, what this means for you in your health, ways to work on prevention, herbs, supplements, diet, lifestyle, and mindset transformations necessary for prevention and management of current health issues. And so, yeah, if you're like, this is great, but I really want more, or I need more of an action plan, you also get a discount for working together if you want to take it further and get a customized program based on your natal chart and your specific needs. So, to redeem your discount, you're going to go to the link in the show notes and you're going to enter code MA20 at checkout. Again, you're going to enter coupon code MA20 at checkout to receive 20% off your medical astrology natal chart reading. And as I mentioned, you can find the link in the show notes. Hope to see you there. That's it for another great episode of The Herbal Ire. Tune in next week for more valuable content with your host, Ire Atla.